Welcome to the number of the day. It's the 19th of January, 2026, and it's a blue Monday across the markets, mainly because this is playing out. The number of the day is 93 billion euros, which the EU is considering slapping on the US if the United States slaps tariffs first on the EU. And this is all about US President Trump's ambitions to get Greenland, either purchasing it or taking it. But we have this incredible pushback, and the next level after the 93 billion euros is called a bazooka. Interestingly enough, the EU has a bazooka in its pocket. It's not a gun, but that would be extraordinary retaliation in terms of trade, and the EU is considering using this. So let's start with the 93 billion euros. That would affect US companies trying to sell in the EU, affecting a lot of the tech companies like Google and Apple. Now, the US is saying that if these countries in the EU, its traditional allies, by the way, stand in the way of Trump's plan to take Greenland somehow, they will be slapped with a 10% tariff on the 1st of February, going up to 25% on the 1st of June. Now, this is extraordinary, although we do live in a world where anything seems possible right now. But before Trump's second term, when we spoke of trade wars and this trade retaliation, it was usually in relation to China and the United States. Now we're having a potential trade war between traditional allies, the US and EU nations. And remember that they're all part of NATO, the North Atlantic Trade Organization. The whole point of NATO is that if one country is invaded, the others are obliged to act. So it's a huge deterrent to anyone thinking of invading any of the European nations or the US that are part of NATO. But of course, Trump has complained that the US gives a lot to NATO, and it does. So the European partners have been conciliatory. They've accepted some tariffs. There was the Liberation Day tariffs last year. They've then settled down on about 15% in the EU. But now they're thinking of pushing back because we have a situation where a NATO country is thinking of potentially invading another NATO country, which surely undermines the whole security pact in the first place. So looking back at those tariffs, Germany said over the weekend that European nations will not be blackmailed by the biggest country in NATO. Finland warned of a dangerous downward spiral. And remember, trade tariffs, the doomsday predictions have not panned out thus far, but the whole point is that everybody sells less. Companies that used to have many markets to operate in are now limited, so they make less money, and that can lead to less economic growth for everybody involved and even unemployment. Greenland, by the way, is a semi-autonomous land owned by Denmark. So Denmark is crucial here, and it's one of the countries facing those potential tariffs. Denmark, the likes of Finland, the Netherlands, France, and the UK. And Trump framing this in terms of security, he's saying that if he doesn't have ownership of Greenland, Russia and China will take it. And of course, then Russia and China move closer with their arms to the US. But the EU is offering various different solutions here. The US could increase its bases in Greenland. It has the option, in fact, according to an oldish treaty, to reopen 16 old bases. And together they are considering this Golden Dome is a united missile defense system. So finally, the market reaction, gold hit a new all-time high. This has been a theme, gold up by 72% over the last year because gold responds when investors are worried about the future. US President Trump has clearly made many worried about the future. So it's seen as a safe haven, a safe store of value while other things go up and down. Silver is up. The markets are down today, including the JSE. US markets are closed for a holiday. Richmond, this is an interesting company which we may talk about this week in the number of the day, owned by chaired rather by Johann Rupert. It's listed on the JSE, but mainly based in Switzerland, and it's down 3%. Maybe because warmongering generally is not good for luxury goods companies. So that's where we leave it. The number of the day, 93 billion euros, what the EU is considering in terms of retaliatory tariffs. Could even go bigger, and then we'll find out how big the bazooka is.